Hey guys, it's DDD. Good afternoon and welcome to my channel. Today I'm back to give my second two pay-per-view predictions for this Sunday's Raw exclusive FastLane pay-per-view for the two women's division matches, and speaking of two, that we are going to be receiving. The first being the rematch from the Royal Rumble, Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax. And the second being what I believe will be the final singles championship match between Charlotte and Bayley for the Raw Women's title. Okay, so jumping right into it, this video shouldn't be too long. I'm just going to give these quick predictions and explanations. Starting with Sasha versus Nia, I believe that once again Nia Jax is going to get the win here because Nia needs to look strong in order to make a case for herself to be in the title picture, because at this point I do think it's starting to become pretty clear that WWE is building towards the fatal four-way for the Raw women that's been rumored for the past month or so. At first, I wasn't sure about it. Things were still looking shaky because, as far as I was concerned, the main story for the Raw women was centered around Charlotte Bayley with a side of Sasha. I never completely outruled Sasha, but Nia Jax was still kind of in question for me. I didn't know if they were going to still feel the need to include her. But once she had kind of cut that promo on Raw and made her staked her claim for the title, I knew it from that point on. I'm like, okay, they must be building towards this fatal four where they want to include Nia Jax, which I have no problem with. It's fine. Personally, I would have preferred a singles match for the women this year for WrestleMania, just because I felt like we had two multi women matches last year, and I feel like it's just been so long since we've had a one-on-one women's match at WrestleMania, especially one for a title. Like I said before, the last one that we got was Melina versus Ashley for WrestleMania 23, and that obviously wasn't the greatest match. So I just feel like we need to redeem ourselves in that sense. But Fatal 4-Way this year, cool, whatever. Honestly, for the SmackDown women, it's looking like we may get a multi-women's match for them as well. But hey, it is what it is. I'm still rocking and rolling with everything. But getting back to the point at hand, I do think that Nia is going to get the win again here. I also think that this win is necessary because I think that this is adding to Sasha's story and what's going to add to her bitterness and making her desperate to eventually turn heel again. Now, transitioning from that match where I believe Nia will win again, and I do just want to say for the record that I believe, as far as the match quality, I feel like that's when I'm just gonna have to wait and see. Like, I don't think it's going to be amazing, but I do think it does have the possibility to outshine Charlotte versus Bayley for me. Only because I feel like there may be more intensity in that match, and I live for matches that have intensity, and I feel like Sasha's really good at performing like that and also bringing that out in others. I feel like she brings out something in most of the opponents she competes with. But like I said, moving on to the next and final match, I'm going to predict Charlotte versus Bayley for the Raw Women's title. Now, this is not something I want to happen, but I do believe that Charlotte is definitely going to win the title right back from Bayley, unfortunately, and continue her pay-per-view streak through WrestleMania. Um, the reason I think this is going to happen for a few reasons. I think this is going to happen, one, because whatever, I guess five is a special number. And I would think WWE is that anal about whatever they wanted to make Charlotte a five-time Raw Women's Champion within what I guess you could say the span of less than a year. I feel like that's something that'll be plugged a lot. So I could definitely see that happening Um, and as far as how I think it will happen, I do think that Charlotte winning the title back will result from a Sasha heel turn, like most other people are predicting. Now, in order to just keep from sounding too cliche, I want to be very, very specific about how I think this will happen. I believe that Dana Brooke will be accompanying Charlotte to the ring. And I believe obviously her and Bayley will have a hard fought match. The reason why I believe, like, I don't want to take credit away from Charlotte and Bayley because they are both talented performers. But with Charlotte and Bayley, I do agree with the consensus that they have the least chemistry out of the four horsewomen. Like, they have the potential to put on a good match, but I just feel like something with them doesn't click the same way. You don't get that same excitement or feel, and just for me personally anyway, I can only speak for myself. I don't get that same excitement that I do when any of the other four horsewomen compete against one another. But again, I'm just really waiting and sitting back to see what everyone does. I believe that Dana Brooke will obviously try to get involved at some point to help Charlotte. I believe this will prompt Sasha to come out again. I don't think she's going to come out with Bayley right away because of her defeat with Nia Jax. But I don't think Nia will take Sasha out too bad to the point where it's like she can't appear at all. And I don't think Stephanie will pop up or do anything to be like, oh, Sasha can't interfere. I think everything's gonna fall into place this way. Sasha will come out initially to be an equalizer and kind of, I guess, try to take out Dana again, or she will take out Dana. And it will appear as if Sasha will be the one to help Bayley retain her title. And I believe that at the last second, she is going to turn on Bayley. But I don't believe she's going to interrupt the match and cause it to be a disqualification. What I think she will do is she will just assist Bayley the same way she assist Charlotte the same way she assisted Bayley on Raw and help Charlotte win the title back. And I know it sounds so bizarre, and in a way it may seem like it doesn't make the most sense because Sasha's supposed to hate Charlotte, but I feel like that's what's going to be so intriguing about it is like everyone's going to want an explanation from Sasha. This is going to have people invested because it's going to be like, why on earth would Sasha help Charlotte of all people, like the last person? But I don't think that it's going to be Sasha helping Charlotte in the sense like, oh, she's going to side with her, like stand in the ring and raise her hand or anything crazy like that. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think she's going to help Charlotte win the title back, but it's going to kind of be like a Sasha just like she feels like she's in control type of thing. Like she knows what she's doing. You know what I mean? She'll give Charlotte like this smirk, like, yeah, whatever, like enjoy it for now. But like this is all like I feel like a master plan that Sasha is trying to have unfold in her mind. So I think that's what's going to happen. And as far as an explanation or what I think Sasha will explain or say as to why she finally turned on Bayley or why things are happening the way they are, what I mentioned from my very first video when I first started this channel, when I talked about part of Sasha's motivation to turn heel, I specifically said that if you remember when Charlotte competed against Sasha at Roadblock in their Iron Woman match, that was the final draw, the final match for the title that Charlotte could have with Sasha one-on-one. And if you remember, the stipulation was that whoever won that match could not rematch the other for the title as long as they were champion. So as long as Charlotte was in her fourth reign as women's champion, the title was basically off limits to Sasha. So if you think about it, that alone was Sasha's motivation to help take the title off of Charlotte, because it's like, yeah, if I make sure that you lose this title, then that makes me viable to be a challenger again. And it doesn't matter if you win the title back because this isn't the same reign. You know what I mean? It's not like Sasha's banned from facing Charlotte for the title forever. It was just she couldn't do it anymore at that point. So I feel like Sasha basically manipulated the women's title picture to have the ball basically court in her favor, which I think is very brilliant character wise on her end. And I think it makes sense. I think it's a good reason, why to turn her heel. And I feel like Sasha, I'm not sure what kind of heel she'll be. I don't know if they'll necessarily make her the aggressive, sassy boss again, or if they'll turn her heel in the sense like, I was just doing what I had to do type of thing for me, my title. Well, I mean, I guess that is like selfish, bossy heel Sasha in a way. Either way, it works. But I believe that's what's going to turn Sasha heel. It's going to be the motivation and everything about her winning the title and making things work in her favor. And I believe that Nia beating Sasha earlier in the night is necessary to still give Nia a reason to come out and say, hey, she deserves a title shot because she's beaten Sasha and she's beaten Bayley. The only person she hasn't really faced or gotten to defeat to really lay claim to a title shot is Charlotte herself. And I believe that at some point leading up to WrestleMania, we will see a singles match between Charlotte and Nia, which I believe should be fun to watch. But those are my predictions, guys. I predict that, like I said, Nia will beat Sasha. And then later on in the night, Sasha will help Charlotte win the title back from Bayley. Now, as far as why she would want to help Charlotte win the title back, because I know in a way it still feels like why it still doesn't make sense, because either way someone different had the title. Why does she still feel the need to screw Bayley over? I feel like that'll also be a desperate attempt of Sasha saying like she needs to be in that spotlight. She needs to be in that championship picture. And I feel like that's why both people like Charlotte and Stephanie McMahon have been saying things to her like, are you really sincerely caring about Bayley, or are you just trying to steal her spotlight type of thing? And I feel like at this point, because Sasha hasn't been able to really walk the walk, as Charlotte would say. She's been hanging on to Bayley, latching on to her a little bit more often than normal, because she wants to still hold on to whatever spotlight she can. And I can't wait to see how everything unfolds tomorrow. So, officially, I'm done. Those are my predictions. Whoever watches the video, if you care to, comment what you guys think will happen tomorrow down in the comments below for these women's division matches. How do you think the storyline will play out? Do you think at this point that we're still getting the Fatal 4-Way, or do you think there's a possibility it could still lead or build to something else? Hey, let me know. I'm open. I'm open for the discussion. I'm open for it all. So, I will definitely, I promise, I will be back tomorrow to react to both women's matches at least. I'm not going to promise or guarantee the whole pay-per-view because for the billionth time, I mainly care about the women's division. So you may get me for just Sasha versus Nia and Charlotte versus Bayley, or who knows, I may change my mind. I may do the whole pay-per-view. Whatever. But either way, you will definitely be getting some more content from me tomorrow regarding FastLane. So until then, everyone, enjoy the rest of your day. This has been Deed, and peace and chicken grease. Bye. Time for my weird ending. Ooh.